Okay. It says 5 p.m. Shall we get started? Let me get some notes here, and and then we can check in. It's exciting that BB's here. Let's get some topics and the such. All right. I do like to have notes, but I did get the recording going on, so that's good. Um, Trying to deal with some California stuff. All right, so should we start checking in? Or I guess we could wait for BB to get back too. Sounds good.
Yeah, when BB comes back, we can start. Yeah, I'm not in a rush.
All right, yeah, I'm not planning on going to the national call today, and just planning on doing um, our whoops our California session, or I guess it's NorCal at 2 hours. So I have plenty of time. I don't know how long we'll need. We'll see how it goes. But I'm very excited about continuing our discussion from last week. I
Yeah, we talked about sociocracy. We talked about conflict and resolution.
And we also talked
Um,
about what it would mean to put together and fork together like a more structured organizational model.
mhm.
Yes, so that was interesting.
Yeah, I looked through the resources link tree recently, and they've added a lot of stuff since the last time I looked. So there were a few things that weren't there before that I found very helpful in the direction of building better structure.
Nice. What did they have?
Specifically, like a suggested outline for meetings, which I was happy to see there because I was literally looking for something to that effect, and it was
Mm-hmm.
right there on the link tree. It was very nice. Um, yeah, I don't know. I one of the criticisms I gave directly to the people in that the group I've been having conflict in um was about yeah, I just I expressed frustration that it seemed like people hadn't even looked into what we're doing. You know, like they had not read the several of them had not read the code of conduct before running meetings. Several of them had never read the welcome packet or gone to a welcome meeting. So I criticized that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty gently, I think, considering how severe that sounds when you really think about it. Like, how are you running meetings anyway? Um, I said
Yeah.
that, and I think they heard me because several people are like, "I'm going to the welcome meeting," and I hope it's like in earnest. Like they heard me and they think, "Oh yeah, that's probably true. We should go educate ourselves about the plan." And not just like a passive aggressive thing. I don't know. We'll see. I hope they actually show up. I mean, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's just like I did that 6 times and continued to be frustrated. So I'm still hopeful. I'm
Hugs,
still
Tori.
hopeful.
Hugs. You're good.
Yeah,
You're good. You're
I
good.
know. I really I have a lot of hope that we can get to somewhere productive and positive where everyone's using their time and energy to the best of their ability and understands what like the big picture is that they're participating in. I would love to get there, and I think we're on the right road. It's just been couple tough weeks.
So, Story, if I understand you correctly, starting meetings is going to be a direct conversation with. We're going under the assumption that everyone in this meeting has read the content of the welcome packet and is aware of how to have a stack in a round robin situation. And that
Oh,
way,
I mean,
like people.
even further than that, because it was the people that ran the meeting that didn't have any of that. So I took the document that was on the GSUS resources, and I took the document that I wrote, and now they're together, and I'm gonna kind of marry them so they each meet all the check boxes that they each accomplish, and there's some redundancy I can remove too. Um, but ideally, what it's gonna be is like if you are new, please come with me for your little intro workshop. And if you have been here before, stay here for like the bureaucratic voting part that you need the context for. And we're gonna go do those two simultaneously and then come back together for like events and communication and where we are and what and the stuff everyone needs to know. I think that'll be a lot more productive and help new people jump right in and old people, like people that have been here, get work done simultaneously without the frustration that we saw. And a bunch of other things that just need to be acknowledged and thought about and planned for. I think it's gonna be really good though. I'm very excited, like that we're doing stuff. Like I said this last week too. I'd rather have a messy meeting than no meeting. At least a messy meeting is a starting place, and we can build from there.
Amen.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, we're getting some people in here too. So I'll stop that. I'll end with I'm Story. They them. I consent to be recorded. And the next person that feels comfortable, say how you're doing, what's new, name and pronouns, and if you don't consent to being recorded, you should go because we're doing that. That's what we're here for. All right. Over.
I'd like to go. My name's BB. I consent to being recorded. My pronouns are he, him, his. I went down to Cincinnati with our general strike. I'm in Ohio. We connected with the DSA chapter down there. We were outside the Federal Reserve building. Plugged them into the general strike. I also am coming back from a May Day picnic with the Revolutionary Student Union. Plugged them into the general strike. I'm in their signal group, so I'll keep harmonizing around that. And I am discerning that local organizations that are aware of the benefit of striking, such as unions, United Food Workers, mail carriers, even though they can't strike, are the groups that are activated in the sense like they know how the process works, even if they might not be able to participate. They can help carry our flag and promote us in the background. And yeah, I consent. Great job, Jay. Always love you.
Great. Kara, do you want to check in? Or I'll go next. Not, maybe you can't speak verbally. Yes, I consent to be recorded. He, him, and I have been super busy with California set up. And I mean, all I can say is that it's interesting experience for sure. Um, you know, the whole California being split up into two separate halves is an interesting decision. Um, I'm in Northern California, so I've been trying. I mean, I've been doing both because I was involved in setting up both Discords and doing. So I kind of like was doing both, and we had our first California wide meeting last week, and everything went good. But as far as like the Discord goes, there's still a lot of weird things where like for example, I can't message everybody on the Discord. Um, so you can only do like at here or whatever. So there's like 50, 100 people at a time out of the over 1,000, 2,000 people on, and that's just Northern California. And then also there's just a lot of kind of chaos with trying to find facilitators and the vetting process and like all these different things going on in Northern California that I don't quite understand. Um, but hopefully today we'll work it out. So in like another hour and a half, we'll have some more discussion about how Northern California is going to evolve. So overall, it's all very exciting, just seeing everything coming around and just, having the first week of like a new chapter for Northern California and California in general. But there's definitely a lot of, shaky things, and it's still not totally clear how the empowerment works and, where the decision making lies and how issues are going to be addressed. Like, I think for me, the core issue in relationship to the structure is that I understand the idea of like splitting us all apart across the entire country and then trying, I guess, to bring the vetted facilitators back together or something. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but there's it doesn't feel like there's a place to go to really build momentum for the national strike, which is what I'm here to help do. And then from that, I feel like overall the vast majority of people, they in my experience over the last 8 months or 6 months or whatever it's been have left. So this is my basically last week here. And for those who want to check in next week, I will jump on. But unless someone specifically wanted to continue this group, I'm going to be stepping down and this would be the last like one that we promote within the GSUS. And then I'm going to be gone for a couple months going into Europe and doing global organizing. So that's sort of my situation. But overall, like I would have loved to see even more interest with public accountability and transparency and all that with sociocracy and everything. But I think, we're more of like a fringe group, but it's still cool that we're all here, and I certainly want to help build this back up in a couple months when I get back and everything. But yeah, check. Kara, and I think maybe that was you, Bubbles, not sure, but Kara can check in. My group doesn't know who leadership is. My group
there's an anonymous fellow jester also.
There's another. Oh yeah, I think that might be Bubbles. I'm not totally sure. So if you guys want to just check in and/or consent to being recorded, that'd be great. If you can only do text, you can text. Otherwise, it's just I guess the three of us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Perfect.
This is Bubbles. I consent to be recorded. I'm not even sure that I'm supposed to be in this meeting.
Which meeting are you trying to be in?
Well, it was in my in basket this was going on. So this is the regional, right? Like or national?
Yeah, this is just our public, transparent, recorded session. The only one that I've gotten people to do. So we do it every week at this time, and in an hour is the national welcome group, and then in 2 hours from now we have the Northern California breakout group and Southern California breakout group. So maybe that's what you're in terms of the regional, because that'll be in 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure. But you're welcome to go, or you can stay, or however you want to. It's all good. I think you've been here before, but yeah.
Yeah.
What we do here is we mostly just talk about like how things are going and sort of we've had a lot of different topics. We've talked about philosophical, like the types of things that inspire us and the types of things that keep us going and the types of like personal practices and philosophies that we stick to that help us in our activism and in our other work. So yeah, it's very flexible. We usually sort of bullet point some things we could talk about and then pick one and run with it for a while.
Or just do informal discussion in round robins, which is also perfectly fine.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. I'll stay.
Yeah, just feel you can always bounce anytime. Overall, I would love us to, focus on the harder topics, the ones that are more intense, like, so that's kind of where I'm at right now in terms of like, I'm like stepping away. I'm going to Europe. I'm going to be not as involved anymore. So it's like, okay, all the issues that have not been addressed for 6 months, they didn't get addressed. Should they have been addressed? How many people left because they weren't addressed? And then from there, how will things evolve and move forward? And what do we want to see? So anyways, if we want to do a topic, I'm certainly happy to do a topic and get agreement on a topic. I think that's always best. Or we could also just continue like our normal informal communication, which we've been doing the last couple weeks. So just like open discussion. Open discussion.
I mean, I like the topic that you said. It's a little broad, but the idea of like what are the things that are known problems that have been known problems that are not being fixed. Like there are several problems that are still present but are being fixed. The solution's just not done yet. Including like transcriptive meetings so that we can have captions for people who are hard of hearing or have auditory processing issues. That's in progress. It's not finished yet, but it's like being worked on. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the wiki will be a really good searchable educational resource navigation tool, but that's just begun. You know what I mean? So there are some things that I feel like we know there are problems, but we're doing it. You know, it's in progress. And then there's other things I think you're right that aren't even started. I think talking about some of that and just like marking it for the record, like these are things that really do need to get done, but no one's on this task yet, or the task doesn't have enough people and needs to be higher priority. That kind of thing would be a good direction,
Well,
I think.
Let me just share my number one kind of concern and issue overall, and just the brick wall that I've hit into so many times, and the answer is just, oh, read the welcome packet, oh, local level. So it's just like there's an obvious concerted effort, in the strategy and in the national leadership to push for the starfish model that's been months and months in the working and get everybody focused on like local level. So now that we are focused on local level, I'm just kind of thinking, where is this going to go and all? But the thing that's missing is just like the most basic structure of just communication representation at the national level. There we have like 7 teams, and they don't report anywhere. There's nowhere to go to interact between the teams, and so as far as I'm concerned, it's just like everything's happening behind the scenes in secret.
Are you talking about a steering committee?
Sure, a steering committee, a general group, any sort of like national group where the strike comes together. Like we are all here for the purpose of a strike, and like I've gone to the welcome meeting like 10, 15 times because that's the only thing that is any sort of resemblance of like a national space where you come together with everybody, and then it's like it just doesn't ever go anywhere, And so then you come to the strategy team, and everyone's like, well, what do we want to do this and this, and no one knows how to do it, and then it's just like, okay, well, should we have like more of a national place to come to? So anyways, this feels like right now we're doing a lot of splitting up, so it could work. Maybe in a year things will come back and bubble back up, but sometimes when you split up too much, you get too diminished of the momentum. And
that's for sure.
Yeah,
SF, you guys raised.
Yeah, and then the only other last thing I'll say is just like the decision making on different national things would be nice. But anyways, I definitely see things moving forward, and it's all really exciting for sure. And I can't wait to see how things evolve in a couple months when I get back. Story, let's go over to you.
I was gonna ask about like if the strategy team had been able to respond to any of those things, and you already sort of answered that with no. I wonder. I've gone to several of them, but some have been more productive than others. I don't know. I get pushback when I bring it up, but I really want to make like a big collective sortable checklist, like a fucking Kanban. I seriously do, and I think it would be helpful. But people that have used it are resistant because it's like a corporate tool. And yeah, it is a corporate tool, but it's very functional for independently led.
What is the tool? I didn't understand the tool.
Oh, okay. It's a system called Kanban. It's part of a larger set of systems called Agile. And basically it's a way of prioritizing project steps. And so when you have like a team of people working on the same project, you break it up into steps, you put a priority on the steps, and you put them on the list, and then anyone that has access to that list can add their email to the step, add the link to the document that they're working on that step in, or whatever file is relevant, and a little summary of if they're stuck on something or how it's going, and you check in once every week or two about what you did on the list that time and what you're planning on doing next and what other things need to be added to the list that are related to what you're doing. and everyone has like a check-in about it, and that's it. That's the whole thing. But it's not there's more, there's really specific weird jargon for it, and I feel like we could just ditch that but use the same layout and it would work. The jargon makes no sense and it's really unnecessary. I think it's meant to like gatekeep corporate knowledge, you know what I mean? I think it's intentionally obscure. So just ditching that part and turning it into something utilizable would be maybe a way to help what you're talking about. I don't know. Go ahead. Pass.
Should we go to Bubbles?
Sure, yeah. I've used Kanban before. I'm not totally familiar with it, but that would be a really good idea because we do. Everybody could look at what projects are going on and be able to communicate that way. And I was going to say, it does seem like having California split into two groups is it's harder. I don't know. I guess I didn't get invited to their server, but they did get, like, the Bay Area made another server for just themselves. So I don't know.
I made the Bay Area, well, at least one of the
you
Bay
did?
Area ones I made because I would just automatically just made servers up and down the layer, but it's an open server for the private and the public one, so it's just in the link
Yeah.
under Northern California, so it's there.
Find the link.
Yeah, but we're not really using everything. I mean, we're mainly using the California one.
Yeah. I'm just finding all of the different places you can go to look for things a little overwhelming. If that is helpful feedback.
For sure. Let's go to GNOME, and that you check in. You can consent to recording. This is our recorded session. Did you want to check in, GNOME, or you maybe your audio is not working? You're on mute right now. All right. And then maybe we could see if BB wants to go next if we're keeping our round going.
Thank you for keeping the rounds. I would suggest that instead of maybe doing like a who wants to be our leadership situation, we do more of a lottery situation where we can take names of people who are interested in participating in that paid. Is it paid story? Is it a paid service?
No, nothing's paid. What are you talking about?
The Kanban?
No, it's just it's like saying flowchart. Like it means a certain thing, but you don't have to pay for it to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like there are paid softwares that like may have a GUI for it, but you could also just do it with like Google Forms or anything that can take a form and turn it into a spreadsheet or page.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so I think maybe that we can like put that on blast and like have, because we got emails going out, right, to invite everyone into these chapters, and then have the localized people volunteer and then do a lottery system for who actually gets picked. And then we can make that sort of one of the first decisions, and then also be obvious with like, we're going to have leadership re-lotterized whatever in a month or two, so that way we can be honest about how decentralized we are and that there is a term limits, so that we're like representing sort of the future that we see, which is we want term limits. We don't want people to seek power because they're a sociopath. We want them just to volunteer for the greater good and then be dipped out because term limits. I'm done.
Sorry.
In one of the documents I made about making meetings work smoother, it included the idea that when at the end of each meeting, the next meeting should be scheduled, and the person who's going to run that meeting should be selected, and that first dibs go to people who have never done it before. So you have to have gone to at least like the intro session, and I think I said 2 more meetings. If you've gone to at least 2 meetings, and you know, read the code of conduct and stuff like that, you can run a meeting. And then if there's multiple people that have never done it before, you know, we would vote, but we would, you know, in that way, once you've done it, you can't be in that pool again. So if the next person wants to try again next week, they could get picked. And then if no one new wanted to run the next meeting, someone that's already done it could volunteer And then if there's multiple people, once again, people would vote on it. So then it becomes at least democratic, which can still have issues of like status and prejudice and comfort zone stuff. But like I think it at least can prevent, like, if there's an abuse of authority going on, it would just take more people seeing it and talking about it openly. And as dissent is a core foundational premise of GSUS, people should be able to there should never be a rule that makes it not okay to talk about, hey, this is a problem. That would be fundamentally against what we're doing, right? So I think as long as people are allowed to speak their problems and leadership can be rotated as needed, and new people have a shot, like a elevated shot, to share their ideas and have their voice heard and give it a try once they see what we're doing. Yeah, that I don't know. I hope that sort of responds to it and can probably be expanded to some of the other things beyond just in-person meetings. And Nomi, if you need help, you are welcome to jump in next, say your name and pronouns, how you doing, give your check-in. If you consent to be recorded, this is all recorded, so if you don't want to be recorded, that's where we're doing. But I'll stop talking so you can check in, and it's okay if you have kids. We all have lives, and you're allowed to have children, allowed to be kids. Kids are allowed. It's cool.
So if you want to check in, go for it. If not, it's fine. You were saying that she was gonna stay, not interrupt, and not, I mean, you're not interrupting. You're one of us. I think I love what you just said about how new people should feel empowered and welcome. But yeah.
Thank you. Welcome. I've got a 5-year-old here who's hitting me in the head with a sucker, so it's a little bit loud with the little contraption. It's that thing. I guess I have never been to one of these meetings before. I think I sat in on one of the there was some meeting that I sat in before and just kind of listened. Also because I'm always either doing something else or I have him making lots of noise. So I'm just trying to kind of see how this whole thing works and like get a feel for things and see where I can fit in and help.
Great. Yes, and the welcome session is coming up in a half an hour. You might, want to join that, which would be a great thing to get an overview of everything going on.
Okay. We will see. I jump on a lot of different meetings for a lot of different groups whenever they work out for me. I'm not sure if that's going to interfere with dinner or bedtime, but...
Cool. Awesome. Well, no worries.
All right.
Yeah, so as far as the round goes, I can go next, and then we'll go back to BB, and then see if Cara wants to say anything, and then we have Bubbles, and then go back to Story, and then Gnome again. Okay, so we'll just keep going around. One thing that I was mentioning earlier is that it's it's possible as things go really, really slow, which is perfectly okay. But I think my biggest concern about that is the idea that even if things go really, really, really slow, we should be able to really, really, really slowly say no. And that is my biggest red flag, is that you just don't see any no votes, right? And there's some polls, and it's like who controls the polls, and it's just like, it's very, back end, So like when you have an organization or you have a movement or you have groups and there's actual decision making, a group will come together and there's a proposal and you vote no on it. And it's very clear the leadership and the people that are involved in this do not want this. But in our situation, it's more like, oh, there's all these ideas and they just fizzle out and disappear. So and that's a no, right? So it's like if you have an idea and you present it, either it gets accepted and it goes forward or it just fizzles out and disappears. And so you don't really get, clear feedback. As far as one very interesting thing that's happened in the last week with the strategy team and other groups is that the demands have significantly expanded, and even Day wrote out a whole list of demands. It's quite impressive, really. And so that is actually very exciting. I think that the demands might be a really good place to focus on for national engagement and momentum to get people excited about something, excited about what we're all here for. And there's actually 2 or 3 different models for how we could actually be voting and coordinating and prioritizing demands and seeing them all come together. And that should not be done by the strategy team. That should not be done by a single group. Everybody should be part of that process. So thinking about how we could integrate, a larger, broader process of filtering and hearing and engaging in demands, I think would be very, very, very healthy, especially since it's already starting to happen. In regards to the facilitation aspects and running meetings and the such, I do think that, I love the idea of having new people stepping up, and actually our protocols are that we actually go to new people first for getting experience and stepping up into roles. So that is all very, very exciting. And so from that point, I would love to see, you know, having like kind of the support facilitator and or like the backup facilitator. So if a new person just gets completely overwhelmed, they know that there's someone there supporting them, and that they can immediately be like, okay, I need help in this instance, or this situation just got way too crazy in the moment. And so maybe someone with a little more facilitation experience, who's like a neutral facilitator, could step up. So that's the only other thing I would mention in there to make new people feel more comfortable with jumping in. So I think that's all I need to say for now. I have so much more to say, but I'll just go for our next round. So let's go. I think maybe we're on Stack Story, but then we can go to BB again, and then no, maybe it is. I forgot the round.
I put my
Story.
hand down because you naturally answered my
Oh, I
question in
naturally
your
answered your question. Okay, so I think we're on
explanation. Yeah,
BB,
you got
and
there.
then Bubbles, and then Story again, and then Gnome, and then of course Kara can jump in anytime. So Kara, if you want to jump in, feel free.
Yeah, Kara, why don't you go? You got something?
Oh well, Kara hasn't had any audio, so I don't know if Kara can speak. But BB, it's your turn. Yeah.
You just want to honor that. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add to it. I think we're all in agreement. I guess Story, maybe you and I can try to harmonize for next weekend, since a very helpful person is evolving and turning into a beautiful butterfly and going abroad. I don't know if you're up for that.
And I plan on checking in next week a little bit. I'm not going to be doing any outreach for this next week. So if we all show up next week, I'll be here. And that would be my last week at this time, at least.
Yeah, that'd be great to like kind of initiate some sort of handoff, I think, and giving us a week's time to work it out. And Story and I are communicating outside of this too, so I would be very happy and aligned with working with Story to continue what you have built and grow it.
I mean, if you guys want to keep going with recorded sessions, I actually put together a guide. I don't know if you saw the guide, but we love guides in this group, so why not have another guide? And that basically could become something simple, just like it could be as simple as just an audio recording. I don't think I did an audio recording today. I just have the video recording going, but I always try to have a backup audio recording. And so you just click on audio, and then you have an audio recording, you upload it, link it. It's pretty simple. You can always use our, databases. We have plenty of databases. As far as, Google or whatever, there's a bunch of different ones. They're all publicly accessible. So anyways, if you're interested in that, I'll link the partial guide. It's not perfect, but it gets some of the basics in there. And then I can just keep the existing session going and not remove it. So I'll leave it up for now, and then maybe next week we can decide if we want to get rid of it or whatever. Okay? It's up to you guys. But I'll take it down unless you guys specifically say you want to keep it up. If that makes sense. I'll leave it up. So BB went, so then that brings us to Story, right? No, Bubbles. Goes to Bubbles. Bubbles?
Hi, sorry. I was looking at the spreadsheet. I guess that's where you're taking the notes.
Yes, so there's a spreadsheet for our notes for today, and I'll link all of the previous notes as well. So this is notes for today. And then
Okay.
I always try to link all of our previous notes as well. So basically, I use spreadsheets on everything, and this pretty much the only reason I'm not using Proton Drive is because Proton Drive doesn't have spreadsheets. Also, Proton Drive was asking me for some money, but you know, I'll come in the world of that. But either way,
Yeah.
this is the sessions list with all the sessions. I'll put it right here in our notes. So on the info
Okay.
tab, I link the sheet. So this would be the group sheet. So there's our group sheet here with all the links to the previous notes, and then I also typically link the recordings in the notes.
Okay.
So
In the notes.
so
that
for
was one of the
example, I'll come in
questions.
here. I have a live stream going. It does not have to be a live stream. It doesn't have to be YouTube. It doesn't have to be Google. You can just do an audio recording. It doesn't matter how we record, but I have everything set up on my side to be able to do, you know, full live streaming and recordings. I can also multi-stream to like 4 or 5 different places, and then from there we can even get transcripts, you know, produced. So we have all the things to do the automatic transcripts. So if people are
So this
interested
is
in
all
that, I
through
can show you how to
Jitsi?
do all of that if there's interest in it.
I'm interested. Is it all through Jitsi that you're doing the live stream?
So I do OSB, but you can do Jitsi. So if I stop the OSB recording just for fun, I might be able to do both at the same time, but I'm sure it'll be very unhappy. But let's just end the stream real quick just for fun. And then you get